Hello and welcome back to the Soft Psychology Club. I'm April and I'm so glad that you're here. If you didn't see episode 1, this is a space for ambitious women who are a bit over the hustle at all costs narrative. We're here to look at the actual science behind why you feel stuck and overwhelmed and how we can move past that so that we're not constantly stuck in that feeling. Now, I want to start today with an observation. As a psychologist, I spend my days understanding human behaviour, and one of the most fascinating and very uniquely human things that we do is to pay for a gym membership, pack a bag full of reasonably expensive equipment, buy multiple cute matching sets, and then find every possible reason not to go to the gym. I've seen this cycle in so many of my clients over the years, and I've seen it in myself as well. Nowadays, I personally really enjoy reformer Pilates. I find the movement of the carriage for me to be quite soothing, and the fact that I don't have to really think about what I'm doing, I just have to follow the instructions, feels like a bit of a mental break for me, particularly if I have a really cognitively heavy week. If I lived closer to a gym and wanted to engage in strength training regularly, I could get the same effect from having a specifically designed program from a qualified coach. That way, all I had to do was show up and then do what I'm told according to the plan. But let's not get sidetracked already. Whether or not you're going to a boutique studio, a huge gym, or you're trying to work out in your own lounge room, if your brain doesn't feel safe or efficient, it's going to trigger what we're going to refer to as a fitness freeze. So you're not being lazy. Your nervous system is simply performing a survival-based safety check. And today, I'm going to talk to you about how to pass that safety check every time so you never miss a workout again. Or most of the time, don't miss your workout again. To understand the freeze, we need to look at two ancient directives your brain lives by: conserving energy and minimizing social risk. So let's talk about the energy tax first. This is pure evolutionary biology. For most of human history, calories were a limited currency. Your brain is hardwired to be a biological accountant. It wants the highest reward for the lowest caloric cost. Our brain is always seeking the path of least resistance, whether that's mentally or physically. So when you think about a gym workout, you have to get there, you have to get changed, and then you're using all of this energy lifting these heavy weights, and your brain does a quick audit and thinks, well, we're burning a huge amount of fuel here and there's no immediate reward, there's no immediate survival payoff, no food, no safety, I'm just really sweaty and now I have more washing to do. So this is sometimes why you feel that wave of like really heavy fatigue right before you go to do a workout. Your brain is trying to save your life from a famine that actually isn't happening. It's biologically budgeting, so to speak. And then we layer on top of that the social threat. So we mentioned this in episode 1. Again, if you haven't listened to it, highly recommend. Our brain is primed to scan for social threats. Because back in the day, if we did something that the group didn't approve of, we risked being kicked out of the group and our chances of survival on our own were pretty slim. So we really wanted to maintain the group's approval to increase our chances of survival. Our brain hasn't really caught up to this yet, and it still reacts to judgment from others as life-threatening. So when you walk into a gym at 4:30 on a Thursday and it's full of people, your amygdala, like the little fire alarm in your brain, is scanning for social threat, right? And you're going, oh, am I doing this right? Is everyone looking at me? You're really concerned with the possibility of other people judging you, because that feels like a threat to your brain, right? So not only do we have high energy cost for low immediate reward, we also have a high risk of social friction. I feel like I'm really not selling exercise here to you very well. We know exercise is incredibly important for our health, mentally and physically as well, right? So what happens then? Your brain hits the emergency brake and cue the fitness freeze. So you're not being lazy. Your brain is literally trying to protect you, right? The gym isn't the enemy, but the friction that the gym or the exercise causes us is something that we really need to acknowledge, I think, because it does exist. It's real. So let's acknowledge it and then try and work around it rather than just avoiding. In the first episode, we introduced the window of tolerance concept. This is from Dr. Dan Siegel, and it's basically like our sweet spot for our nervous system. So when you're inside your window of tolerance, you can really handle stress. You feel alert, but you feel calm, and this is where the flow happens. So you need to be challenged enough that you're like on the ball, but you don't want to be too challenged that you're incredibly stressed. It's like right in that middle ground. But when the stakes feel too high, again, when you've walked into that super crowded gym, that usually it can push you outside that window of tolerance. And this can happen in one of two different ways. The first is hyperarousal. So this is the fight or flight zone where you feel quite frantic. Your heart is possibly racing. You might feel hot or a little bit sweaty, and your thoughts are probably racing quite quickly, and they're probably saying lots of negative what ifs to you. And then you feel a little bit too frazzled, I guess, to be able to really lock in and enjoy what you're doing. The other option is the hypoarousal. This is the freeze zone. So this is where you feel quite heavy. Your limbs might feel like lead and you feel really tired, even though not that long ago you felt fine. So this is where you really think to yourself, oh my God, I really just do not have the energy for this, kind of all of a sudden. So there's lots of noise out there telling us that you just need to push through the pain. Your nervous system doesn't respond to demands like that. It responds to safety. So if you're feeling that heavy, leaden sense of exhaustion, that's your brain's way of protecting you. Trying to grind through a shutdown is like trying to drive a car with the handbrake pulled on. I have done that a few times by accident. You're just burning the engine. I actually haven't ruined the car or anything, just to be clear. But over here, we don't force things, we regulate. We focus on staying within our window of tolerance and possibly even expanding that window, because it is something that can shrink and expand over time as well. Because then our brain feels more secure and movement becomes an act of self-care rather than a battle of the wills. Another reason that we tend to get stuck is a lack of self-efficacy. So this is a term coined by Albert Bandura, and I really love talking about it. So self-efficacy is our belief in our ability to complete the actions that we need to reach our goal, right? So when we set these really grand sweeping goals, like committing to a 5-day gym routine and at the same time completely cutting out sugar when we haven't done either of those things before, we just think we're being really ambitious and driven and like, how good's that? But the biological accountant is running a different set of numbers, right? It sees a massive energy withdrawal with a pretty high potential of failure. So from a neuropsychological standpoint, if the cost of failure feels too high, your brain's probably going to proactively shut down to attempt to protect your resources. It's a survival-based risk assessment. Your brain would rather stay frozen and safe on the couch rather than risk the massive metabolic and emotional tax of attempting a goal that doesn't really feel sustainable to us. So we often fall into the trap of all or nothing thinking. I see this all the time in clinic. We think if we can't do a proper 60-minute session, there's no point doing any at all. Or if we can't go to the gym 5 days a week, well, what's the point? I should just give up now. But here at Soft Psychology Club, we really value the micro wins. We need to lower the activation threshold. That's the amount of energy it takes just to get started. So if your goal is a 60-minute run, the threshold is pretty huge. That's a big goal if you haven't really run before. If your goal is to just put on your shoes and get to the letterbox, the threshold is pretty small. And once you're at the letterbox, your brain realizes, oh, okay, we're still alive, we have enough energy, maybe now we can start running for 5 minutes, and then you can keep extending it out that way. I know James Clear talks about this in his book Atomic Habits quite a lot, where I think he uses push-ups as an example, where he says doing 100 push-ups every day has quite a high activation threshold, and you're not likely to do 100 push-ups at the end of the day when you're really tired, but 10 push-ups is a much lower activation threshold, and you go, yeah, I can probably do 10 push-ups, that's not too many, and then that gets you started. So what's our action plan? How do we apply this tomorrow morning? I want to give you a couple of soft strategies to outsmart your own safety check. So number one being the mirror neuron hack. If the social threat of the gym feels so high, we can actually flip it and use some social modeling. So if you really can't get yourself to move, you can spend a few minutes watching videos of other people doing the same movement that you want to do. So if it's an RDL or a Pilates move or a downward dog, if you watch videos of other people doing this movement, it actually begins to prime your brain and the muscles and the neuro pathways for the activity just by watching it. It's a little bit like doing a warm-up for your nervous system, and it's telling the amygdala, look, she's doing it and she's safe and she looks happy and really healthy, so maybe we can do that too. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but if I've been really excited about an activity and I've been researching it lots, say Pilates or a gym movement or running, if I see other people doing that, it really motivates me. I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that too. And it's because I'm seeing those people looking happy and confident and achieving that movement, and it makes me want to do it too. It increases my self-efficacy. I'm like, yeah, I believe that I can do that as well. If they can, I can. Number two is our sensory regulation. So if the gym environment feels really overwhelming, let's control some of those variables, right? So you can wear clothing that you feel really comfortable in. If you have a favorite oversized t-shirt or a hoodie that you love, or your favorite pair of trackies, you can wear those to make yourself feel a little more comfortable. Personally, I really like wearing all black when I work out. I wear a lot of all black anyway, but that's my preference. I feel so much more comfortable in that. For you, it might be wearing something really colourful. You might want to do a bit of dopamine dressing before you work out. You can use noise cancelling headphones. They really eliminate a lot of that background noise in the gym as well, and that can create a little bit of a sensory bubble for you that just signifies to your brain that it's okay, you're here, and even though there's lots of people, you're still safe. Number three is our language. Our language really matters. Please stop saying that you have to work out. It sounds like a demand, and the brain really loves to rebel against a demand, right? Why don't you try saying, I'm going to see how my body feels from moving for a few minutes. This really lowers the stakes. It makes it like a curious experiment rather than a high stakes performance review. You can literally say to yourself, I'm just going to move for a few minutes and see how I feel. I'm just going to do this one set of exercises and see how that feels. Or I get to do this one set of exercises, or I get to have an hour just to myself. Anything along those lines really helps to shift our perspective. Bonus tip for you, have a plan. Schedule it in so you're not having to decide when to go. You just know that at 6 a.m. tomorrow or 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, you're in the gym, you're in your workout gear, right? You might even lay out your clothes so they're all ready, and so tomorrow you don't have to try and decide, you don't have to pick out, they're just there ready for you to go. And also having a specific set of exercises outlined, so that can look like a plan from a qualified coach, and then you don't have to decide what to do when you get there. We just want to reduce the decision fatigue as much as possible. In fact, I could probably make a whole video on decision fatigue in and of itself. So we're really building a relationship with movement. It's not a sprint, it's more of a marathon, so to speak. I mean that in the way that we're really taking time to build this relationship with your body and to build trust, and that you can do these movements and use up this energy, and that you're going to be refueling your body and that your body feels safe. We don't want to force it. We really want to guide it with love. So I'd really love for you to try some of these tips this week and see how they go. If you find yourself in that fitness freeze, just stop, take a breath, and ask yourself, what does my nervous system need right now to feel safe? You're doing a really good job. Your brain is also doing a really good job, right? We just need to get those two to work together. If you have any questions about these, please reach out and ask me. If there's anything that I've discussed today that you would like to know more about, please just ask me. I'm very, very happy to do some more deep dives, and I will see you next time.